Hello, this is Will from Will to Trade. You can check me out at willtotrade.com. Fill out the form, get invited to a 2-week free trial to our chat room. We chat every day, Monday through Friday, starting as early as 9 a.m. Eastern Time. And of course, we're chatting about stocks that are moving. I give alerts out. Other members also give alerts, talk about stocks that they see that are in play. And from time to time, I make videos. I haven't made videos in a while, so today I'm making a series of videos on a handful of stocks that have been making some recent moves yesterday and the day before. This video is on OPXA, and I wanted to just show, as I've been showing all these videos here, a screenshot, there you go, of some of the rules that I have for trading. These are very simple rules, keeping it very basic, very straightforward. Three steps to making money trading. Step 1, you got to know what stocks to trade. Step 2, know which price to buy. Step 3, know which price to sell. Sounds pretty straightforward, sounds pretty simple, but it really can be that straightforward. If you follow those guidelines, you can definitely make some money trading. And the type of trades that I trade, that I alert, and that I think are really the best trades to go for are: number 1, the breakouts; number 2, the groundhogs or the groundhog day trades; number 3, the retracements. And really in that order, the breakouts being the simplest, most straightforward trades. Groundhogs a little more complicated, and retracements a little more complicated as well. And the type of trades we don't want to take are the chop, the chase, the chatter, and sometimes the crap. So we're going to go ahead and talk about OPXA, and I'm going to show you what it was looking like Friday morning. Now this stock actually did gap up, but really here, this is again West Coast time, 6:28, so 2 minutes before the market opened, and then it came back. I kind of missed it on the gap up because I'm usually looking at the gappers from 6 until like 6:25 or so, and then I kind of shift gears, and then I'm not really looking at the gappers. If one was looking at the gappers, they would have seen that it did make a high pre-market at 103. So that's definitely a choice. I mean, you certainly could jump in at the 103 mark, as it breaks the high of the pre-market. But let's go ahead and look at this chart, assuming you didn't see the pre-market activity, assuming you weren't looking that it was gapping up, but more specifically just on the actual activity that it had during the market itself. So if you're looking at this chart right here, I would call this chart choppy. It basically pulled back and then had a little candle here, little blips here. Not too much activity, so not really something that I would recommend trading at this particular moment in time. Every minute could be different. So we look up here, it actually did break this 103 and have a little pop up. Now, if you were on it, meaning like if you were looking at all the gappers, every minute up until the market opened, you saw this gap up activity, you saw it had 15,000 shares here and then 2,000 shares there, you drew a line at 103 and you got in on this push, congratulations. I mean, that's a great push to get into, and definitely a great trade. But again, for the sake of this video, I'm going to talk about some of the other trades that you could take on this one. I think right around here is where I actually saw it. I actually saw that it had moved, besides the fact that it had gapped up, it had moved up percentage-wise on the day. And because it had moved up, I was looking at it and I was interested, and I was thinking, okay, this could be a stock that's in play, could have another move. Let's just try to draw some lines and try to figure out where the move could be. So you have here a high of 114. So I would draw a line here at, say, 115. I'll go ahead and make it a blue line. And basically, I alerted this, I took this trade, and I basically said, okay, well, if we can get to 115, then we could push to 120 to 125. So let's take a look at what happened. It pulls back. So at this moment, I have my order in queue. One of two things is going to happen. It's either going to pull all the way back to the 104, 103, maybe back even below 1, or it's going to turn around, pop up through the 115, and then hopefully more. So again, let's just see what happens. And right there you have it. So right there, it does make a push through the 115, and it's working its way up. So now at this point, I'll go ahead and draw a line at 125. So 125 is a place you could sell it at. Just picking this number just purely because it's 10 cents up from the 115. It's a 10 cent gain. It comes out to like 8.7% gain, something like that. It's a decent little gain to get. So it just taps the 125, the second candle, taps it again, and then third candle, it actually fully goes through. So you probably would even get your gains right here within a couple of candles. So this is a quick trade, besides for this trade here. And as you can see, I'll even draw a trend line to show you. On these particular moves, you can see it's really clean push up. And these are the kind of trades you want to take. You don't want to be trading the chop that I mentioned. You want to take this trade right here. So let's go ahead and actually change this to a 5-minute view. And I'm going to, all right. So here's our 5-minute view. Okay, so as the day, in the beginning part of the day, I'm looking at the 1-minute candles. As the day goes on, I'm switching to 5-minute candles. As the day's going on, I'm still switching back and forth between 1s and 5s, but the 5-minute candles is going to give me the big picture view. Now, remember we talked earlier the type of trades you want to take. You want to take the breakouts, the groundhogs, and the retracements. The breakouts are the simplest. So we've already had one, if not two breakouts on this. I'm going to call this one the one from 115 to 125. I keep my lines drawn throughout the day, okay? And I see my 125 right here. Now I didn't take a second trade on this, but later in the day yesterday, I looked at this full chart and I was very impressed with how well it had moved, and I decided I really want to make a video on this to really showcase it. So if we fast forward here, we see that it in fact hit the 125 again, and then of course you could make a line right here at the 135, and then just showing that basically you can, this, I wouldn't really say this is support, because as you can tell, the support falls off pretty quick. Here it's kind of support, but basically this whole area is really choppy. At least this area here, this area right here is really choppy. I would not recommend trading in this area, especially if you are new to trading, because it's very tricky. I recommend you really focus on your breakouts, groundhogs, and retracements, especially your breakouts. But basically, I like to, for simple language, I like to call this line a place to buy and then a place to sell. And then you could either buy here and sell there again, or what was once a place to sell could then become a place to buy. Somewhat in the vein that what was once resistance could then become support, but in this case it's a place to buy, a place to sell, and then it switches. So you basically can make this trade here, and then you could have this line still on your chart and then make another trade there. I'll actually switch back to the 1-minute candles just so you can see how fast this happens. So you have your line here, right? You have your line drawn at 125. And you just see how choppy this is. I mean, there's really very little volume. There's very little activity. It's not really where you'd want to trade, because it's really tough to predict these moves. You want the clean moves. And look at this. I mean, this is super, super clean. You basically could jump right back in here at 125, right where you left off, and then set your marker at 135. And within, 2 or 3 minutes, you're there. And as you can tell, I'll draw another trend line. The ramp up before it really takes off, very clean trend line, and then sort of a second trend line, if you will, in the move, also very clean. So notice how clean this is. You're either going to want to jump in here at 125 and then jump out at 135, grab your 10-cent profit, and then kind of pull back and then wait for the next activity, because then what happens is it falls apart and becomes choppy again. So I just want you to kind of see what this really looks like. This is a really clean move, whether it be from here to here, or from here to there, or even from here all the way to there. But basically this area is really where you want to trade. And then once it breaks down, it just becomes all choppy. You have a push of volume that comes in, and then it kind of falls apart. Now we're keeping this 135 line here. And then just for fun, let's draw a line at 145, just because, So go ahead and change this to 145. 145, make this dotted line. And then we will fast forward, and we have our lines that are drawn, right? We have our 115, our 125, our 135, and up here we have a 145. We fast forward, and this is all choppy. Look how choppy this is. You don't want to trade here. But if there's another breakout, right, another push, another leg up, you could take that trade. Where would that trade be? Well, your line's right here, 135. So let's just see if it pushes through 135 again. And lo and behold, there it does. It does. And then it pushes to 145 very quickly again. And we'll draw one more trend line again from, I guess, even here. Whoops. From here to there. So you see it's a very smooth trend line up. And you could jump back in at 135, jump out at 145. And then we will go ahead and fast forward again just to see what happens. Okay, it hits a high of 148. And then I would draw a line at 150. We'll even just say 151 just to be on the safe side. We'll call this here 151. Make this a solid blue. So basically I would say, okay, well, if we get to 150, 151, maybe even 155 in this case, okay, I'll buy in again. If we don't, then I won't. So notice what happens again. Fast forwarding the chart. It becomes choppy again. You don't want to trade in this. You don't want to trade in this. You don't want to trade in this because it's just too unpredictable. It's not really clear cut. It's just all over the place. And now I will zoom out one last time, show you this chart on the full 5 minutes. I know there's a lot of lines here. I know there's a lot going on, but let's just kind of review really simply, really easy. Keep it as simple as we possibly can. I personally traded and alerted one time, but then later I realized there was actually a second trade and then even a third trade. This is just my opinion. This is just the way I personally look at the charts. I think it's really safe to get in here at 115 and then jump out at 125. Okay, you're done. You have your line here at 125. If you're looking for another breakout, right, like a second breakout, this could be your next breakout where you buy in at 125 and then you sell at 135. You have that line still drawn the whole time, makes kind of a cup here, and then another breakout is going from 135 to 145. You're not trading in the middle. It's pretty choppy. You're not really trading in the middle. It's pretty choppy. And you're definitely not trading in here because it's very choppy. It's really all over the place. If and only if the stock pushed back up to 150, 151, maybe 155, then sure, you could take another leg up and go for another trade. So in this particular example of OPXA, you have maybe one even really early, but you have at least 1, 2, 3 solid trades that you could take that would be quick, jumping in, jumping out, following the type of trade, which is the breakout trade. So I hope this video made sense. If it did and you liked it, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. If you really like it, go ahead and hit subscribe and you can be alerted to all new videos when I make them. And if you're interested in these kind of alerts, check out our room at will2trade.com and we'll get you signed up for a free 2-week trial. Thank you so much and have a great day. Bye.